What if I told you that the decade-long wait for the ultimate street photography weapon is finally over? Welcome to Tech Vibe. For 10 long years, the legendary RX1 series sat in the shadows, while cameras like the Fujifilm X100 and the Leica Q dominated the sidewalks of the world. But Sony just dropped a 61-megapixel grenade into the premium compact market, and the landscape of high-end photography just changed forever. Today, we are deep diving into the brand new Sony RX1R III. This is a camera so small it fits in your jacket pocket, yet so powerful it carries the exact same sensor as the professional flagship A7 or V. We are talking about the highest resolution ever seen in a body this size, paired with an optics system that has been refined to micron-level precision. But at a staggering price tag of over $5,000, is this a masterpiece for the elite or just an overpriced relic of the past? You need to listen closely, because we are uncovering a hidden feature in the new AI processing unit that might actually make this the most capable travel camera ever built. To understand why the RX1R III is such a massive deal, you have to look at what is under the hood. Sony did not just iterate, they essentially took their most expensive professional internals and compressed them into a magnesium alloy shell that weighs less than 500 grams. The heart of this beast is the 61-megapixel Exmor R back-illuminated sensor. For the non-geeks out there, that means you can take a photo of a skyscraper in crop and so far you can see the brand of the watch on someone's wrist 5 blocks away. It is absurd. And because Sony removed the optical low-pass filter, the sharpness is almost clinical. They have paired this sensor with the new Bionz XR engine, which is 8 times faster than the previous generation. This is not just about speed, it is about how the camera sees the world. Now, let's talk about the lens, because this is where the controversy starts. Sony decided to stick with the legendary Zeiss Sonnar T-Star 35mm f2 lens. Some critics are saying, hey Sony, it has been 10 years, where is the f1.4? But here is the reality. This lens was already ahead of its time. By keeping the fixed 35mm f2 design, Sony was able to keep the body incredibly thin while optimizing the sensor-to-glass distance at a micron level. This creates a level of edge-to-edge clarity that interchangeable lenses can rarely match. Plus, they have added a step crop feature. With a single tap, you can jump from 35mm to a 50mm or 70mm equivalent. And because you are starting with 61 megapixels, even at a 70mm crop, you are still getting a 15-megapixel file that is cleaner than most entry-level mirrorless cameras. It is like having a bag of 3 prime lenses without ever having to change a piece of glass. But the real magic happens with the new AI processing unit. This is the same tech found in the $6,000 Sony A9 III. It does not just recognize faces, it recognizes human poses. If your subject turns their back or puts on a helmet, the camera still knows exactly where their head is. It tracks birds, insects, cars, and even airplanes with a level of tenacity that feels like cheating. For street photographers, this is the holy grail. You can shoot from the hip, trust the AI, and know that the focus will be locked onto the subject's eye before you even press the shutter. This level of confidence changes how you shoot. You stop worrying about technicalities and start focusing on the art. However, it is not all perfect. Sony made some design choices that have the community divided. For starters, the pop-up electronic viewfinder from the Mark II is gone. In its place is a fixed, corner-mounted viewfinder. While it is more durable and features a 2.36 million OLED panel, some purists miss the cool factor of the pop-up mechanism. And then there is the screen. It is a fixed 3-inch touchscreen. In an era where every camera has a flip-out or tilting screen, Sony went back to basics. Their argument is durability and size. They wanted this to be a pure photography tool. But for those of us who like shooting from low angles, it is a bit of a heartbreak. Let us talk power, because the original RX1 series was notorious for having the battery life of a vintage smartphone. Sony finally addressed this by switching to the NP-FW50 battery. It is a fatter, more robust cell that gives you about 300 to 500 shots per charge depending on how you use it. Is it as good as the massive Z batteries in the full-frame A7 series? No. But it is a massive leap forward that actually makes this a viable all-day camera. Plus, it features USB-C power delivery, so you can charge it off a power bank while it is sitting in your bag between locations. This is a game changer for travelers. For those of you looking at the high-end market, you are probably asking why this over a Leica Q3. It is the ultimate battle of the luxury compacts. The Leica gives you that iconic red dot and a faster f1.7 lens, but it is significantly larger and heavier. The Sony RX1R III is truly pocketable in a way the Leica is not. And when it comes to autofocus, Sony is playing a completely different game. The Leica is a luxury timepiece, the Sony is a high-performance computer that happens to take world-class photos. It is a choice between heritage and cutting-edge technology. We also have to mention the video capabilities. While this is a stills-first camera, Sony did not ignore the creators. You are getting 4K 30p with 10-bit 422 color depth. It includes S-Cinetone and S-Log3, meaning you can color grade your travel clips to look like a Hollywood movie. It even has active stabilization, which uses the massive sensor to digitally stabilize your footage. It is not a dedicated vlogging camera, but if you are a hybrid shooter who wants the best possible image quality in the smallest possible footprint, this is it. Imagine walking through a crowded market in Tokyo or a quiet street in London, capturing cinema-grade footage without anyone even noticing you have a camera. The build quality is another area where Sony stepped up. It feels like a solid block of metal. The dials have a tactile click that feels expensive. The aperture ring on the lens is mechanical, giving you that old-school connection to your settings. There is a weather sealing gasket around the battery door and the ports, which is a first for this series. You can finally take your $5,000 camera out in a light drizzle without having a panic attack. This adds a layer of versatility that the previous models lacked. So, who is the Tech Vibe verdict for? The Sony RX1R III is for the photographer who has everything but wants to carry nothing. It is for the professional who is tired of lugging a 5-pound setup through the streets of New York or Paris but refuses to compromise on image quality. At $5,100, it is an investment in a specific kind of freedom. It is the freedom to have flagship power in the palm of your hand, ready at a moment's notice. It is for the artist who wants the technology to get out of the way so they can just create. Before we finish, I want to hear from you. Does the lack of a tilting screen and in-body stabilization make this a deal breaker for you, or is that 61-megapixel sensor enough to make you pull the trigger? The conversation happens in the comments, and I read every single one. If you found this deep dive helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to Tech Vibe for more high-end gear reviews that actually matter. We have some incredible comparisons coming up, including a side-by-side with the Leica Q3 43 that you absolutely won't want to miss. High-end photography is changing, and we are here to make sure you stay ahead of the curve. Thanks for listening until the very end, and I will see you in the next one.